Today in the PhantomCave YouTube channel we're going to be talking about a new story which has been published by Frew in the last probably a couple of weeks, and a 80s or a Lee Falk and Sly Barry reprint of some amazing artwork in this week's sort of Monday's video. And the cover art is actually done by Daniel Piccotti, I think it is, and it is a wraparound cover, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so we have the reprinting of Falk and Barry's Adventures of Lucy Cary, and plus a new story, The Outlaws, which actually the Outlaws takes a bit of historical sort of stuff to do with it as well. And actually the next actual issue, which I do have right here by myself, which is Collector's Replica Series number 25, and this is what it looks like. We're probably going to be reviewing it on Thursday this week, so I can catch up on the latest Phantom comics. So let's get into this comic. So this is The Adventures of Lucy Cary. It's a daily story from the 60s, I think. I might just have to look at it. Yeah, oh no, it started back in the 1954 and went on till I think 1964 or something. That doesn't sound right. First appeared in Frew number 294 and 295. So we are now going to get into the story. Sorry about that little fumble there. So in this story, I hadn't really read it that much, so it's pretty cool, and it takes into the regard of, I think, the 20th Phantom. Yeah, it must be. So it takes in regard of past Phantoms who've been basically doing their own job. They've been going around. The past Phantom in this story, in the early parts of this story, is basically he may not get another chance at life. He's been going through a lot lately, obviously because of his current situation right now, being that he's got bullet wounds in his arms and in his sort of like body. And the Phantom actually meets this doctor, who is one of probably the bestest jungle doctors you're ever going to see on the jungle sort of area. And his actual sister, Jane, is actually, well, it's his sister, but the Carys, basically. Carys, they're probably very rich. Plus the Carys, and plus Jane is eventually, she marries the Phantom's father, I think. The current Phantom's father, I think. And in amongst all of this, most of this story is from the Chronicles, but when one of the Doctor's daughters or granddaughters is basically, she's called Lucy Cary, she's a Hollywood star, and she's in Bengali. And when that actually happens, when a person comes to a normal town, or like a special person comes from interstate, people are going to make a big fuss out about it. And the Hollywood star is basically, after a couple, probably a week or two, she basically gets kidnapped by these two, and then they're basically saying we kidnapped her and we want $1 million for the hostage, but their guide that when they go into the jungle actually says that she's got the phantom mark, the good mark, and I'm not getting into any of this. So what actually happens in this? So there's a kidnapping happened, there's a doctor at the start of it, and his granddaughter or something like that is eventually sort of rescued by the Phantom, and so she then basically has to go back to where she came, and she actually marries a Jungle Patrol person. So yeah, that's basically the story, and she actually reckons she can marry the Phantom, but obviously we all know that the Phantom has his eyes. Obviously back in those days he had eyes for only one person, and that was Diana Palmer. So this person, Lucy Cary, is eventually saved by the Phantom, as I said, and is eventually marries a Jungle Patrol person, a Jungle Patrol officer, which is Sergeant Hill. The second story in this actual video today, we are talking about a historical link to a band of gang members, a band of Western gang members back in the 1900s. So back in the 1900s, as of legend, these two people, there's back in the 1900s, so there's Butch the Sundancer, I'm pretty sure, and then there's another person, these famous gang members, and so everyone thinks they're dead, and obviously because of the police, they're highly involved in this, so everyone in basically all around the world thinks that they're dead. But actually, written by, I think, it's written by, I think, we might have it here, Peter Anderson, and art by a new Frew artist, Rafael Lopez. So Rafael Lopez, I've checked out his Instagram page, and his art is amazing. I'll tell you that right now. His art is amazing, and Sundance and this other guy, the police officers think that they've got the two most wanted criminals in the whole entire of America, but there's a little bit of a but here, because they think we see them in the next couple of pages at a certain jungle tribe. Yes, the Phantom one of the past Phantoms, who is actually married to, reluctantly, who's married to Janie, which is in the first story, it is Janie, the doctor's sister, basically. Janie is the doctor's sister, and then the Phantom, obviously back in, I think, the 50s or the 60s, whenever the first actual Adventures of Lucy Cary was made, wrote and art by, obviously, Seymour Barry. We see a lot in this comic. We see a group sort of thing to do with sort of invitation to do with the Doctor, Janie, and I think the 20th Phantom, I think. And so in the next probably couple of pages, there's this big outlaw, and he thinks he basically gunshots someone, steals a kid, and goes to the nearest jungle sort of thing. And so the Phantom actually has to figure out where they are. He finds them, and who else does he find? He finds Butcher and Sundance, which in that tribe are called Pedro and Pedro. What do you know? That's a unique name. And so the Phantom is given a tour around the tribe, and then at the end of the story, we find, near to the end of the story, we find this guy. So this guy is basically the wanted criminal that has taken this kid from his parents, and the kid actually doesn't want to leave because he has a pet monkey, obviously. But the Phantom has to give the boy back to his parents, and the wanted criminal then tries to steal the gold, the jewelry, and all in a cupboard. Yes, not a safe, a cupboard. And then the Phantom has to rescue them and basically take them down, and eventually the Phantom wins, but old mate, the main criminal in this story, is basically nearly sinks in quicksand, and then at the real end of it, we see Sundance and the gang members disappear. Ooh, they disappear. Now, where did they go to? We will find out on the last page. He gets some plastic surgery done. One of the actual guys that was one of the Outlaws back in 1900s, the original gang members. But he gets some plastic surgery done by one of the greatest of one of those plastic surgery doctors, and he actually visits Paris. A special one-time offer at phantomcomic.com.au is the Phantom Messenger bag is now only $50 when you get the subscribe to the Phantom. And what I was saying here is that they go to Paris, and they think that they've gone out there, they've changed their identity, and the Phantom nearly notices it. So if you would like to subscribe to the PhantomCave YouTube channel, go down below, click that subscriber button down below, and if you would like to get deeper insights of the Phantom, the greatest interviews on the planet, and a whole lot more, you got to subscribe to support local Phantom creators like myself. And as everyone knows, keep Phantom Caving. We'll see you next time on the Phantom Cave YouTube channel. See you.